We're going to talk about and show a couple examples of different properties of real numbers. So the distributive property, which looks something like this, distributes in that number out front of the parentheses and times it or multiplies it to both numbers inside. This is the same thing though if the number comes after. It would have the same effect, times into both numbers, and we would get BA plus CA. So if we were going to do an example of this, if we have 2 times m plus n, we get 2 times n, or m, times, or plus 2 times n. So it distributes to both pieces inside. Same thing happens if it's to a number, so we say negative 4 times 3 is negative 12 plus negative 4 times k is negative 4k. We can also do the opposite of this. So if something shares something in common, it can be factored or brought out front. So, for example, if I have 4m minus 3m, we could factor out the fact that they have an m in common and write it like this. Or, if we have 4m plus 7q, do they share something in common? No. So this one, we cannot use the distributive property. Lastly, this also works if I have more than 2 things inside of that parentheses. So it distributes to each piece inside. So we say 5 times y is 5y. 5 times negative 2x is negative 10x. 5 times 3z is 15z. And it distributes to all 3 of them. So the distributive property you will see a lot in problems. Another 2 properties that we want to go into is what's called the commutative and associative. So for the commutative property, it basically states that I cannot spell today, sorry guys. Commutative property. If we have a plus b, that's the same thing as b plus a. Same thing happens with multiplication, and we can reverse the order. Versus what the associative property basically states is that if I'm adding, say, something like this, that's the same thing as starting with your parentheses here and adding a third number, then doing it here and adding a third number. Same thing with multiplication. We do these 2 first, then multiply a third. That's the same thing as multiplying these 2 first, and that 1/3. So an example of this, to use it, say we wanted to simplify negative 7x plus 10 minus 3x minus 4 plus x. We can first rearrange the order in which these come in because of that associative property or commutative. We can pull things out in different orders. So the x's are all together at the front, the numbers at the end. So we say negative 7x minus 3x is negative 10x plus 1 more x. But we have negative 10 plus 1, so we have negative 9x when combining these 3. 10 minus 4 is 6. Second example, let's throw in a distributive with it as well. So we'd say distribute this in, negative 4x minus 20 minus x plus 10. Move things around by the commutative property. Then we'd say negative 4x minus x is negative 5x. Negative 20 plus 10 is minus 10. We were able to use those properties.